this audio works. Good morning. Hello, peoples of the internet. Good morning, Ronja. I see you're also up already. I hope you're having a cozy morning. I'm in our office at the university right now, and they decided not to heat. So I've got a blanket, I've got a tea, we're ready to start. Right? I feel a bit gaslighted. So when you look outside, it's all spring and warm or not warm, but it's like just sun. But then when you actually go outside, it's just wind and cold and rain. I don't know. It's always a struggle in spring, I think. Because it feels like it should be warm, but in reality, you're just catching a cold. So, yeah, we've got the blanket, we've got the tea, we've got lots of work to do. So I guess we're ready for this. Tuesday, 27th of February, 2024. I still didn't really realize that it's 2024 already. I'm kinda still stuck in 21 in my head. Oh no, I actually also have to go outside. I mean, I have to drive back to Vienna in the evening. So that's gonna be fun. Okay, on today's program. I've spent, as some of you might know, the last few weeks reworking the metagame design for Panta Rhei and implementing a first draft / prototype for it. Then I've played Hades last week, which was very successful. But more importantly, we learned a lot about why the temporary progression, the boon system, works so well in Hades. And now we're kinda combining the things we've learned in the last few gaming streams with the things we've already implemented. And I came up with a hopefully interesting system that I want to try out for basically gardening the temporary upgrades. Participating in the UN Sustainability Game Chair. You've got from England over. Oh, okay, but I feel that's a good reason to go outside. Get to make a game, and it's for a good cause, and you get to meet a lot of interesting people, I guess. Hopefully, probably. I think that's one of the best reasons to need to go outside. So yeah, I'm still a bit lost. You see, I've created a little overview. The tech board is getting a bit cluttered already. We're not really doing tech anyways, we're doing game design. That's like our journey through creating the new power upgrades. Yeah, life be like that sometimes. Perfect. Plans are an illusion anyways. I think. So, because I'm kinda in the same thing. I wanted to have this thing finished like last Wednesday, and I'm still implementing it. Hopefully get something ready for testing this week. But yeah, kinda just have to go. You can't just do one thing after the other anyway, so nothing you can do about that. Just tackle one thing, don't worry about the others when they come up. How many Miro bars do we have? Well, we are on the free plan, so we're not paying for Miro, but we have like 4 different teams, and each team can create 3, or like teams, that they're called teams in Miro. And each account or like team basically can create 3 boards. So technically we have, I think, actively working on 4 or 5 boards. So I'm mostly using the feature map board for planning, but I didn't use it a lot in the last few weeks because it only was me in production. And we have the level design board for the for our location planning and also quest planning, I think. Tech board is mostly my go-to workspace where I just do drafts and create things and do like OML diagrams. Yeah, the most busy one is the narrative board, I think. The narrative is basically, it's the plan for the whole game. It's happening on the narrative board, and also the planning for the, a little bit of meta design is also happening there. And we've just picked up the art board again with starting to plan the VFX direction there. And one important thing I realized yesterday is that, I mean, it makes sense, but I knew that this was a thing, that Miro has stickers, and you can just add funny stickers, and I don't know, I think that's important to know. Yes. Right, stickers are a game changer for me. Especially, I mean, they're also actually practical, because you can highlight, because for the VFX planning, I just highlighted the 2 things that we want to focus on first, the corrupted array and the corrupted object, and it immediately sticks out visually, because it's a funny sticker, and yeah, makes it more pleasing. But yeah, before Miro, we also are on Milanode, actually paying for Milanode, which is Miro but more ordered. Right now, for the more creative processes, I like using Miro more. Also art team. Very interesting, the art director likes Milanode more, our art director. So you can have all these boards and put boards inside of boards, so you can have like a hierarchy, and you can do a few more things to organize stuff. So it's a bit more neat, but less, I would say less smooth than Miro for like chaotic creative processes. But kinda great for, I like to use it for roadmaps and for timelines. So for things like that, I kinda feel like Milanode is better. I'm not sure. It's a very subjective thing. Yeah. So I'm kinda not really in the mindset anymore of trying to stick to one tool. I mean, it's practical to have everything in one place, but really, every team or every person kinda, or every task has a little bit different requirements, so kinda use the tool that fits the current task and or team dynamic. Like try to, like that's one of good learning is the best tool is the one that people actually use. It doesn't matter if you pay 500 euros for an amazing tool if nobody likes using it. If like shared whiteboard also works for your team, then that's great. But yeah, getting sidetracked again, but that's fine. So yeah, the system I'm working on now, hear me out. We've built a gardening puzzling system last week. I don't have that. Do I have that anywhere here? No, I don't. I had it on the the gardening puzzling system was basically a match-free game kind of thing, where you like pick up vegetables and place them on a 3x3 grid, and they have like specific rules. And I'm kinda wanting to take this gardening basics and putting it onto the meta game design. So right now what I'm thinking is, you have like your locations in per run, like the whole garden of past with the different locations, feast garden, feast shed, and in there, depending on how much they are cleansed, how much side quests you did there, you can pick up seeds. I don't know, there will be like plants or bushes or something, and you can basically harvest them, and then you get seeds out of them. And the seeds are like either, what do I say? Like they are different types. Either they are like power seeds and like give you a new power, like the boons in Hades, like a different ability, or like increase damage of a certain attack type, or make a chrono ability more effective. So that's one type of seed. I've kind of put them up here. 5 different types of power seeds for each chrono ability and base combat. And then you have also status seeds. Those basically don't do anything by themselves, but they give other powers certain status effects. I'll explain that in a bit. But so you could have like a seed that gives you a recovery for your chrono resource. Actually, technically it's resonance recovery. Or like a status seed that applies slow or weakens enemies or marks them so they get more damage or increases damage. And then you have seeds that are just like passive effects, like damage resistance or slow resistance. Now the idea is you have to take those seeds, you just get them in your inventory, and then you have to, I'm not sure if that's gonna be part of the UI, or right now we're prototyping, or like the first iteration will be that there's like a specific location in each area, the greenhouse, where you have like this 3x3 plot. And then you go there, and you can start planting your boons, so to say. So if I'm planting the temporary power, it decreases my damage for light attacks. And that's great. And I can plant another temp power. That means, okay, the chrono ability where I can freeze enemies in time costs less resonance. And that's great. But now I can also, like maybe I picked up the slow seed as well, and I can also place them. Yeah, combo effects. That's kind of the idea. So, as like with the status seeds. So the idea is now that the status effects, like the slow plant, basically enhances all neighboring plants. So I can put the slow seed here, and the light attacks now deal more damage and also apply a slow effect. And freezing enemies, okay, that kind of doesn't make sense because they're already frozen, but it also applies a slow effect to them, probably after they unfreeze or something. And then I can have like another ability here, so my trade deals damage, but also gets the slow effect. And then maybe I do the weaken here as well. So my trail effect gets the status from the slow and from the weaken. So like the trail that Fee leaves behind receives the slow, also slows and weakens enemy, which I think is a great combination. Freezing enemies with the external reversion also weakens enemies. Like, so I'm focusing a build on the slow ability here right now. And yeah, so that's like the basic thing. And I also have the passives. Basically are just right now I don't think like with what I'm working with right now, the passive abilities shouldn't or won't be affected by the statuses. They're just kind of blocking a space. And yeah, the one thing I'm not sure yet, because I kinda want there to be a way to like do CRISPR-Cas genetics splicing and like combine um, multiple seeds or plants together, but I don't really have a really good way how that could work. So one idea was that like when you fill a row or something, that the plants kinda get meshed together and you get like one better, bigger mutant plant that has all these abilities but only takes up one slot. Or maybe to have like a separate like genetics lab pot where you can grow like mutant plants by combining different seeds together. I feel like that could be a cool like pseudo crafting mechanism. But yeah, maybe that's making it too complex or too complicated. But I kinda love the idea of splicing plants together, like a mad scientist. But yeah, that's kind of the basis we're starting to prototype with. It's probably also going to be that you're starting with a small field, like only one row maybe, so you can only do like 3 upgrades at first and have to choose which ones. So yeah, that's my first attempt at, I'm calling it power gardening. Yeah, that's true. Kind of depends on the target feeling or the target decision making process you want to have. Because I kind of want to set it apart from like games like Hades, where you do the decision making very in the moment. It takes like only a few seconds to decide which boon to take or which one makes sense. And I give the players their opportunity to really like play around with different builds, which is also in line with like the permanent progression system, where you can like in the hub area really define your run or build by how you stack your skill points and how you reassign your skill points every run. I kind of want to have this also in the run, but like not too much. It shouldn't be too we have to hit the sweet spot. I mean, I guess that's always the goal, to get it exactly right. But yeah, there should be some depth in there in that you can do really smart builds, or like really think about how you want to do this. I think the core point is control. I want to give the players a lot of control about how they want to apply the power seeds. Because it was one thing, also when playing Hades, I realized that like I was focusing a build on like a specific attack, but I still kinda had to get lucky to get boons that fit this build. And I wanna, with Panta Rhei, I want to rework or like work around this by having a system that allows players to control which abilities or which status effects they want to focus on. But yeah, let's see how that works out. The only way to find out is to pick a system and prototype it and then test it and see what people do with it. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. And today in the morning I started thinking about, okay, what do we need from the tech side to get this thing working. A lot of things are already kinda implemented, so we can use those as a basis, because we already had the pickups that give you power upgrades, which is kind of putting another system in between. So yeah. The interactables are kind of already there. They look like this placeholder plant pickup. This one gives you directly a power upgrade, like in Hades. But now we need to rework it so it communicates with the gardening system to like add seeds. The plot kinda needs to read the chosen plants, or like which plants are, or which seeds are planted, kinda. Then we have the 3 different types of seeds, and still need to think about how we have a system for power upgrades. We probably need to rework this a bit to work with this new status effects, or maybe implement a specific gardening power base type. So we can kinda combine that with the status effects. And I have no idea how the passives work yet. Probably another system component on the player, but we didn't really do passive effects yet. But how hard can it be? Right, we're not doing it because it's easy, because we thought it's easy. Yeah. Okay, then let's jump into the coding space. I kinda already started implementing a power gardening system. Yeah, that's the first thing. The first thing we're focusing now is this interaction. Interacting with a seed, bush, plant, and that communicating with the system to obtain the seeds. We need to come up with some kind of distribution, how many seeds you're getting. Okay, so I'm not worried about the save system now. Maybe put down a to-do for later. Yeah, seeds. Okay. Now how are we doing seeds? Because the thing is, we have a bunch of status effects, but I don't know which ones yet. And each status effect will be a separate seed. And it should probably already be decided when picking this up what kind of seed you're getting. I think I'll just put and put the status effects in an enum, so we can maybe have a different scriptable object or something where the enums are mapped to a specific damage modifier. But we don't have to worry about the specific modifiers yet, we can just work with enums. like have an abstract representation and then put the debug modifier into everything for now. Okay. I mean, that's not a complete list, but let's go with those for now. Not sure if we should include knockback as a status modifier. Actually, let's call them power modifier. They're not really status effects, all of them. Let's also do poison damage, because why not? Okay. So we probably, should we do structs for the seeds? Nah, let's do classes. C# doesn't really make a difference anyways. So now how are we doing this? Because we need a base class for the seeds, probably. And they also need later on a representation as an interactable. But right now we kinda only want to have a data only representation. And they need we want to have the whole logic of obtaining them in happening inside the system, and then like the plots, this whole thing is only visual, kinda. Still needs to communicate the neighboring somehow. We'll get to that later. Yeah, today will be a very chaotic approach. Power programming, chaotic programming, and anarchy programming. Well, I mean, it's if it gets us to the goal. So, I guess in case of Dart, add a new class. Let's call it Power Gardening Seed. Okay, it's gonna be our base class. Like an abstract base class. Put them in the seeds. Now, Power Gardening Seed. Now, question is, how are we doing this? Because the status effects, most of them are working. They are working really differently. Should we even combine them into a single class? Makes it easier for storing in like inventory, because they come from the same. They come from the same interactable. They're used in the same gardening mini game kinda. But besides that, the passive seeds will probably just apply a modifier or like communicate with a component on the player. The power seeds will do like anything really. The status effects don't really do anything, they just exist. Okay, let's think about this. So we're getting a bunch of seeds from the bush. They're stored in the gardening system, probably just as a list with a lot of seeds. Then you get to the location, to the greenhouse location, and then we have to spawn the seeds for you to pick up. So it would make sense that we can just iterate them though. But existing is pretty hard sometimes. So I feel like that's a major achievement as well. Should be proud of that. But yeah, so you get the. So it would make sense to be able to iterate them together, and we have the metadata for everything, like which prefab they want to go with. So we have to serialize them as well. I have like a gut feeling of a lot of problems coming up ahead, but I don't have the headspace to go through all the possibilities right now. So we just start implementing it in a way and then see what happens once we hit the wall. But they don't really have a shared interface besides that. Because then when applying we kinda need to extract the power seeds. They're the only ones that get applied. We need to sort them. So yeah, today you're getting a look into the life of a programmer when you didn't have time to plan the system you're implementing. You're kind of wandering aimlessly. No, thanks. I mean, I'm not sure I love programming right now, especially hitting a lot of bugs lately. But yeah, I think it's great to be able to work on something like this, a game especially, and being able to share it with the world. That's always a great opportunity. Also, I feel like on a more pragmatic note, I am actually really productive during those streams. Because you can't slack off. You kind of have to stay focused. And that's like a programmer trick. I'm not sure if you know, there's like this thing about rubber ducking. When you're like, I have a rubber duck here, actually. Right here. Little rubber ducky. There's like this thing when you're stuck with a nasty bug and you don't know what to. You're kind of stuck with a bug or something. Then you just take your rubber duck and explain it to the duck. And like just talking through the whole process and the whole systems helps you in understanding your own code, and then in the end, hopefully uncovering the issue. And it's basically what we're doing here. I'm talking about the code. Mostly also when we're working with code I wrote like 2 years ago, I have to like dig into past Rafi's mad thinking and relearn everything. It's actually explaining things and talking about it, talking about the code really helps in understanding it. And also one thing I noticed with the gaming streams, like the last week's Hades stream, I was really good, and I think that's also partly because I talked about it and like analyzed it and actually understood what the game wants from me. So I guess talking makes me more productive. Seems counterintuitive, but yeah, that's how it is. That's how it is. Next Heredium session. Oof. Yeah. So Heredium, for the uninitiated, is a pen and paper role-playing game, like D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, but it's from a German author / publisher, and it's set in a post-apocalyptic world after the moon exploded, and now there's like Mad Max style. And we've played that a bit, like when we were in school, but then life happened. But yeah, it would be great to get a RPG, a few more RPG sessions in, or like start a new campaign. Doesn't have to be a radio, but could also be a good streaming opportunity. I mean, that's hot right now, streaming RPGs, right? Baldur's Gate 3? No, I've heard a lot about it. I mean, you can't really miss it in the game developer discourse or the gamer discourse. It's not a game I would normally play. Like every game that takes more than 8 hours from my life isn't really possible for me right now. But I've heard lots of good things. Like I heard a lot of 150 hours. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, it deserves it. It's a great game. I've heard lots of only good things from it, mostly. And there's a lot, especially from a narrative point of view, there's a lot to take away from Baldur's Gate. But yeah, despite all the layoffs and everything that didn't go so well in the industry last year, it was also a great year for new releases, especially with Baldur's Gate. But yeah, maybe one day, when I have a lot of time, I check it out. I kinda do want to get into a game, like really deep again. But time is... I would need like 10 more hours in the day. Okay, now, what are we doing here? Release date soon. Depends on or how you define soon. We are actually, I'm gonna plug that every time now. Just we are hard at work. That's kind of why I'm not stressed, but what I'm working on is preparing the next public demo that will be launching sometime in summer. And soon after that, we are doing how can I copy that? We are doing a Kickstarter campaign in summer. I'll drop it in the chat when I find OBS again. Yeah, and then our target release, we're planning to go into early access like at the end of year. Trying to hit the Steam Next Fest in, I think, October, and then soon after that launch into early access. But yeah, that's the current plan. Don't quote me on that, because things can change. It's a messy industry, but that's our current roadmap. The early access launch at the end of the year. Then stay in early access for as long as it takes, but hopefully launch the full gold release in up until summer 2025. But yeah, the next milestone, so to say, is a new publicly available demo on Steam by summer. So like June, July. How early did we announce our game? Good question. I mean, announcing is a big word for a new indie studio. So it's not like we work on it in secret and then like put a press release out and there's a huge commotion around it. With us, it was like from the beginning, basically when we decided to take this further than just a bachelor project, to actually do something with it, we also started posting on social media to start gaining a following. So it was more like, we are a new studio, nobody knows about us, nobody cares about us. There's not really a reason to hide or to develop in silence. So like we kinda wanted to have a voice out there from the beginning to share insights into the development. Now picking up the streams. So on the one side, to get immediate feedback from the community and like test out ideas and see what sticks, but also to like see how much marketing we can do on our own to like try and build up momentum with what we have. Like in my opinion, I'm always saying everything is content. I still believe that. So I feel like the whole development process is an interesting thing to share with the world. And I think, or I hope, also a good marketing hook for that. So basically, I would say, like in my opinion, for indie developers or small developers, as soon as possible. There's not really, I don't think there's a reason to not share the projects you're working on with the outside world. I mean, I guess there are considerations to have when you're a AAA multi-million-dollar company from like legal perspectives and marketing performance. But for a small studio, every bit of news or content that you can share with the world is a plus, in my opinion. It is a I mean, on one hand, yeah, it's a commitment, which could also be a good thing, because now people are holding you accountable for it, and you're actually working on it. But on the other hand, as that like when you're starting out, there probably won't be a lot of people noticing it, but you have to get into a rhythm of sharing your stuff. Oh, bye, Ronja. Have fun at your game jam. But yeah, to still finish the point, I feel like, yeah, especially at the beginning, there won't be a lot of people noticing you anyways, and the few people that are invested can really push you or help you out with feedback and stuff. And even if a project doesn't work out, or you end up not releasing it, or you're dropping it, especially the indie scene is very forgiving and understandable with how messy game development can be. And if you've been communicative from the upfront and you've shared insights into the development, like people kind of know how it's going and they can retrace your steps, and you're not dropping a like project cancelled message or announcement out of the blue, like when it happens when a big AAA project gets cancelled. It's like it kind of led up to this, and you have like a reasoning behind it, because you realize, okay, this project isn't really going anywhere. It's not fun, or the core mechanic doesn't work, and you take the L basically. Take your learnings, that's the important thing, and then you can go to another project. Real commitment only starts once there's money involved, I guess. Like when you launch a Kickstarter campaign or go into early access, like, yeah, then you have a financial commitment, or like then it's a different story. But up until then, it's all about the process and the friends you made along the way. Yeah. But yeah, that's our ethos, really. Trying to be as open as possible with the development process, the ups and the downs. Have fun at your course. Thanks for stopping by. See you in another stream, I hope. Okay. Now. We'll manage. We'll manage somehow. Be it a stream or a Heredium or a board game. Austria is still a small country, really. You can't hide. Now, okay. So let's at least pretend like we're making progress here. Okay, we have the interactables. The interactable just kinda requests. I'm calling this harvest seeds now. We kinda need to figure out the distribution. So what kind of seeds you get with which kind of percentage. What is the word? Probability. That's what I was looking for. What kind of probability there is for each seed? Store them. And for each seed, we also need to store status. Need to have a seed storage, like in inventory. And we need to serialize somehow seeds that are already planted on the plot. Okay, well, makes sense. Then, on the side of the plot. Okay. Request harvest. So basically we have an inventory. What? So the plot will probably be right now they're called gardening puzzles. That's the I think we can use the gardening plot as the same basis. And also use the maybe we can use the whole gardening puzzle logic. With the checks as well, but instead of checking the satisfied, we can set up the powers there. They can fetch the status effects from the neighbors. Then we kinda just need a way to apply the powers. Let's start like that. Okay, let's have this as an abstract. And like the status, then we're gonna run the check first, which set up the powers, and then they need to be applied to the player. You kinda have to figure out how to reset the player before that, but problem for later. I'll put this over here. Okay. Then we're gonna do power seed. Upgrade. Inherits from power seed. But does that make sense? And kinda, does it make sense? Because we'll have doesn't really make sense. Because we need to have a we need to have some kind of scriptable object interface so we can like tweak or set up the power seeds. This is harder than I thought. Okay, so other approach. We have a power seed scriptable object. Like the base. Then we have the upgrade seed status, let's call it modifier, and a passive. And those all inherit from power seed. So, okay, we have those. Then we have a prefab of an interactable. They kinda need to store that as well. Now can I do... Oh boy, that's gonna be a thing. Yeah, they all inherit from power seed. Then I will have... Okay, I think what we are gonna need we're gonna have a power harvest deck kind of thing. So maybe that's a bit crazy. But we wouldn't be doing this if we weren't a little bit crazy. So we have a power seat. I'll abbreviate it with PS. We have one deck for the I guess we have one deck for each. So we can and then we have one deck. So this deck controls a deck in our code base works. It's called deck because it works similar to a deck of cards. But in reality it's just a collection of whatever we're putting in there, mostly scriptable objects in this case, a collection of things, and you can get one out of by random. Hello, quote, hola, ¿qué tal, mi amigo? Good to see you. So the deck work you have a collection of things, and you can I can just show you. I have decks of things in the engine. And you can basically just pull a card out and receive one, in our case, seed or temporary upgrade or whatever you need by random. You can choose if you want to reshuffle the deck then or keep the card out of the deck. Yeah, we're mostly using them for power. Do I have, like for the we're using them for the map spawning. So I have a deck, in this case of 5 cards. There are different transition locations, the generic encounters that can be spawned, and with the quantity you can control how likely it is that you get one or the other card, so to say. And now we have like a pattern of decks. So we have a deck of a deck. So we are kind of stacking decks. Which means that this one controls how likely it is to get a specific upgrade or a specific modifier or a specific passive, and this one controls how likely it is to get like each type. So we can control in the first step how likely it is to get an upgrade or a modifier or a passive, and then like we want to have a 1/3 chance to get an upgrade, so we can control that, and then in the next step it decides from all the upgrades it is more or less likely to get a specific upgrade. Not sure if we need it, but we can do it. Yeah, and those kinda just... That's probably an easier way to do this. But yeah, the modifiers, they have these in there. Okay, so far so good. Then we have the gardening system. And the gardening system holds the harvest deck. Basically only needs this. And interactable requests harvest, basically. Okay, so that's the run loop part covered mostly. I mean, technically we still have the player if we want. Yeah, now I can do arrows. but I've started drawing them with my mouse and I'm not gonna stop now. Yeah, player is interacting. With interactable. How do you like drawing in Miro? I mean, depends. I'm with mouse. With mouse, it's not great, but honestly, with the graphic tablet, it's also not great. I guess it's fine. It's fine. Let's say it's fine. Okay, because the gardening system also needs to hold the seeds, like inventory and planted. So we kind of need to serialize this as well. But we don't really care about which type, I think. Okay, then we have the whole... Oh wait, no, that's the wrong interactable. Because that's not requesting harvest. That's a different interactable. That's the plant interactable. I'm not sure how to call it. It's called power plant. I mean, yeah, power plant is a different thing, but it works for our... You know what I mean. I need to learn the shortcuts. P is for pen, V is for select, T is for text. I mean, it makes sense. Most of the time. Requesting harvest. And the player interacts with the... Oh. Seed, bush, sure. Seed plant. Let's call it seed plant. It's an interactable though. Yeah, and this is requesting a harvest, and then the gardening system is requesting the results from the harvest deck, so to say, and stores them in its inventory. So inventory plus, what does it have? Power seed inventory. And the ones that are plotted. The plus is for, I mean, it's very messy, not really an UML diagram by the book, but plus stands for technically that it's public and other systems can read or work with this data. But I'm only really adding public properties to my UML diagrams, because the other ones, I don't really care about the other ones while planning. Okay, so far so good. Now on the gardening side. Because that's a prefab, that's a pick-upable, so to say. Okay, we have the mono behavior, I mean, normally it's puzzle. Are we still keeping it as the gardening puzzle? Probably. Probably we can keep the gardening puzzle system framework as a basis. It's kinda already doing what we want. Kinda. Now, I'm running out of words. How do you call a like a vegetable? A field? Field? Farm? Field. Oh, and what we didn't add, I mean it's kinda one and one many. I can never remember on which side I have to put the 1 and the star. But what this basically means is that each script row can be part of one gardening system, because there's only one. But the gardening system can contain multiple of the scriptable objects. With this, it means there's only one gardening system, there's only one power harvest stack, and it contains exactly one. Yeah, and here we have the one gardening field. I mean, there can be multiple fields, but each field, in that case, plot. Let's just do gardening plot. Only part of one. And not this one. Can attach to the plot and working, I think. So now time to look into the gardening system. Okay, plot. It's collected plots and it starts a check whenever there's a vegetable placed. Okay, maybe we can expand this just a little bit. To not have it bail out immediately, like give up an option. To have it not bail out when things are not satisfied. Or actually we can just have the power wedges return satisfied by default. Maybe there will be an interesting possibility, sorry, to actually include rules, placement rules for the power gardening as well. I think that would be mostly evil. Very evil. So I think the system kinda just has to subscribe to changed or to check event. And also retrieve, apply, planted powers. Something like that. So yeah, seems fine to me. Somehow the interactable still needs to know which seed it is. No, that's a 1-1 kind of thing. That's not. It's not nice having this kind of pattern where they need to know from each other. Mostly. But yeah, we'll see if we can come up with something better along the way. Time for a little snack break. Right, snack break's over. Let's jump into the code. And I'll put this on my second screen. So now the base power seed. Let's call it definition. Oh no, never mind. Was the wrong one. Okay, did we break Unity? this should be a scriptable object. We're not making it a reference marked one because it's shady. Don't want that. Okay, this one needs a serialized field. For its prefab. And I think that's it. This one probably has a reference. Power decorator. Probably. Done. I guess let's add the, just for good measure, let's add the power seed modifier as well, so we have like something to work with. Yeah, we'll have to think about how that works. But not yet, not now. Let's put them in a separate folder. Then we need a power seed deck. Why are we in namespace? Ah. Namespace A. Weird. Okay, I think remembering that there were more steps to adding a deck. Yeah, we do need an editor. It's called Power Seed Deck Editor. And deck editor power seed definition without a body. This needs a create asset menu. Seed. Okay, and now I guess we're also adding the deck. So, I think we can just add it to the same class. Can we? No, it's a scriptable object. I think it needs to have the same name. But we can add the editor to the same file. So, I guess at least something. Power seed deck. Double deck, okay. Then we're adding the deck editor, power seed deck editor. This is a bit crazy to write. Not gonna lie. And then custom editor for power seed deck. Okay, let's try this out. Where are we putting this? Probably gameplay progression. Let's do a new folder, power gardening. I feel like power gardening is a thing, right? It's that. That's like, yeah, power gardening. That's a thing. Gardening with power tools. That's not what we're doing here. Not yet. Maybe in a DLC or something. But I like the sound of it. Power gardening. Oh no, I've trapped my headphone cable under my chair. So no, our power gardening is a bit different. But that's the joy, the one joyful thing of being a programmer. You can give your classes funny names. And no one can stop you. Unless you have like a tech director with opinions. Then somebody can stop you, but that's not the point here. Okay, first add a system. And then add a deck. But we also put it in system. Where systems? Why are they up here? Why is this not sorted by anything reasonable? Seed deck. And we have one for the upgrades. And one for the modifier. And one for the passives. Okay, then now, sorry, the interesting thing, will the deck, the double deck, work? Oh, wrong one. So the harvesting deck should contain like all of those. Seems fine. And like if we want to have like a normal distribution, normalized distribution, is that what you call it? Everything with the same probability. We're just adding one card of each. Yay! And then in the modifiers, we can add the respective power seeds. Don't think there's a way to create power seeds yet. Yeah. So those need a create asset menu as well. We're calling it seed gardening seed power. And this one modifier, but we're gonna need a separate one for each. Yeah, let's see what happens. Now let's create a folder for seeds. Let's go to the gardening. another one for the modifier. Wait, I think there's an issue in the serialization. Why is it gone? Okay, I'm just adding I guess a debug, and then it just disappears. Interesting. And why? Ah, okay. Issue in our editor script. Awesome. I love debugging those. Oh my god. It's 300 lines long. Editor script. Problem is that the systems are not initialized yet. That's a weird issue we have. Something I couldn't be bothered to fix it. Because we have a bunch of systems that are also relevant for edit time. And they only get initialized the first time you start the game or start play mode. And I didn't start play mode today, so they never got initialized. And normally you don't realize the issue, because it's most of the times the first time I'm doing is starting play mode to test a thing. Sometimes I forget and then I'm confused. So yeah, life do be hard sometimes. But if I already added, we can add a gardening system and hit play once. Ooh, welcome to my testing area. This banana ain't working properly. That's not what we're here for. We are here for power gardening. No, wrong one. Power gardening. Okay, now they serialize properly. Is there a debug modifier? Where are the modifiers? Damage modifier, utility, debug, debug, debug. Debug bool? What does this do? Okay. I don't know. Progression, power gardening, seeds, and let's put the debug mod in here. We don't really do, we have no system for passives yet. Gonna keep that empty. Maybe remove it from here as well. Do the modifier twice. Then add an upgrade power and add one modifier. So far so good, so far so good. Then the gardening system needs a reference to the power seat double deck. Retrieve seeds from harvest deck based on level. I think we're gonna ignore level for now, just retrieve 3 for testing. Let's see what happens. I guess time for another snack. Alright. Now we have a harvest deck, we have a function for requesting the harvest. Let's implement the harvest. So I'm hard coding 3 now, but this will be replaced by, I guess, the level, maybe 1. You know, let's do level. Should be a number between 1 and 3. And like you can upgrade this seed giving plants, the bushes, and if you upgrade them enough, they yield more seeds. That's the basic concept. Then we get a deck from the harvest deck. Without removing the card. And then we get the seed from the deck. And then we adding the seed to inventory. And I think that's it. And I think inventory can just be a this can be a read-only list. We also need to add some kind of in-game notification, maybe a pop-up over the player or from the UI, something that indicates what you got. And we need some kind of UI. Well, we're gonna need an inventory screen, or like at least in the pause screen show what kind of seeds you collected. These things I'm gonna need descriptions as well. Not bothering with localization yet. Gonna need it soon enough anyways. Okay, my mind blanked out and I have no idea what I was doing. Yeah, we need to add where we're adding it. Now, I mean, technically we can already start hooking that up, I think. Power interactable now is... Yeah, and you know what? We're also gonna do a message for the other thing. Because it's receiving, it's the power interactable right now. So we have a system for interactables. You approach them, you get a button prompt, you press it, something happens. And this one is an interactable. And it opens, the only thing it does is opening a HUD panel. And then it's waiting for a message from the HUD. And we're gonna hard code the level because we don't have the upgrade logic yet. I think that's all that needs to happen in there. Gonna need the string for the function name. Then let's check out the panel. That should be panel power interact. Yeah, it's got 2 buttons. Okay, there's a navigation module. Yeah, instead of this, we are going to do this. But with a different message. And technically we could also communicate directly to the system from here. But we have the other logic in there, so I guess makes more sense for me. Makes more sense in my mind to implement it all here. Alright. Technically, this should kinda somewhat work. I mean, it doesn't really do anything yet, but should be able to collect random seeds. I guess let's try it out. I'm sure we forgot to hook something up. Pretty sure. For example, the harvest deck. Okay, expected behavior. We're hitting a breakpoint. We're hitting a breakpoint. We're hitting the correct breakpoint. Wow, this is going well. Level is 0 though? Oh, cause the debug rank is 0. Okay, well, that's anticlimactic. But honestly, we got further than I expected. I guess we have to do debug rank 2 and start this up again. let's try this again. Hitting a breakpoint, level 2. We got a modifier deck, we got a modifier seed. We got an upgrade deck. Nice. And done. Woohoo! So basically, we look at our mirror board. This whole part, like this whole part. Oh, besides the interactable. So technically, this whole part done. Mostly. Nice. This calls for a celebratory sip of tea. Special edition love. But it's already pretty cold. Yeah. Probably gonna get a new cup of tea after the stream. Now I think we're ready to commit. Update to the mission system, update to the power interactable. Yeah. Remove them. Oh yeah, we moved that, I think. Then we added the whole garden logic, updated the gameplay systems, added a new modifier, added a bunch of scriptable objects, updated the panel. Did we? Didn't really change anything in the panel. Ah, it's just a serialization. Updated scenes, sure. Updated the reference serialization, updated the singleton base. Those don't really matter. Still need to apply changes here. Oh wait, we just did the debug rank. Feature. Oh, you know what? We're going to a separate branch. The power gardening branch. Nice, good work, good work. Now we can tackle the probably more complicated part. Because now we have to get the whole pick up check logic ready. And I have a feeling that this will create more problems. Because up until now we mostly added new stuff. Adding new stuff is normally not an issue. It's always gets complicated when you have to start digging around in existing systems. But, well, such is life. Now, I'm just kinda thinking about the attack strategy here. Probably should get like a plot first. Hi, sorry. I think probably we'll start with setting up a plot and hooking up the system and then do the pickup. My guess right now. Alright, let's jump into it. For that, I think I'm gonna create a new testing scene. You know, let's just copy the existing one. Let's do a meta workspace. And get rid of everything. I think just getting rid of everything. Then we need a plot. We need it somewhere here. And we're gonna need multiple. Guess let's start with 3. And we're gonna need the... oh wait, the puzzle already has plots. Let's take those. Give them a bit more space. Now, I'm wondering if we need to extend the gardening puzzle. We can just write another component that wraps it basically and hooks it up with the gardening system. Because we probably need a component on the puzzle. We need a scene handler module that initializes it when the scene gets loaded. So This requires a gardening puzzle. Oh, okay. This requires a gardening puzzle component. Initialize. When scene gets initialized, and hook up gardening system with the puzzle. Puzzle is a bit misleading because we're not really doing a puzzle. It's using the same system. Using the puzzle system to create something else. And we need to set up the plot based on the serialized values in the system. It's gonna be the most weird thing to do, I think. Man, I'm so tired. It's only Tuesday. But in my defense, I didn't have a coffee yet. So, that might explain it. Alrighty. Thinking the puzzle thingy needs an event. Let's give it a bool. Oh, not here. Here. And then, oh no. Then we can do after check event invoke. We can just do that in the end. Is every vegetable satisfied? All right. And in the power gardening system, we'll have a public void, public void on gardening field, check. With a pool that doesn't really interest us. Dump to the in the location. Then do actually, do we need to do a lot in there? We can also move the logic. We could move the logic to the component, but I kinda want to have the logic on here. But on the other hand, no, we need to have the check here, but we want to have like apply effects, and then it needs to get somehow it needs to get the current seeds plus neighbors and then apply the effects. Let's see, I'm not sure where we're gonna have this. This one has a private void on gardening puzzle, check. Or on after gardening puzzle, check. With a pool here. Question also is, do we apply the powers instantly or only when leaving the location, or like the greenhouse? Also, we need to consider, is the greenhouse like a separate, completely separate location, like a completely separate scene? Or part of the location? Probably easier to have it part of the location, not a different room. Probably would be, I have a feeling that it's easier if we only apply the effects when leaving. Because also then we don't really need to listen to the puzzle for a check. I'm still kinda unsure how we are applying the powers as well. Gonna need some kind of runtime class, probably. That, like some kind of class that gets instantiated in the whole process and holds like a context of the power and the status modifiers. Okay, let's do this in a separate function and figure this out first before we think about when the application of the effects should occur. Okay, step 1. Okay, now that's where things get kinda weird. I think. Because we have those gardening vegetables. Well, we have the gardening system. No, the puzzle. The puzzle checks through each plot. And when checking through each plot, it calls the satisfied method. The satisfied method calls the placement rule on the vegetable. And receives the neighbors. So this would be the perfect place to hook up the logic for retrieving or caching the current status effects. Technically. So we could do this as a placement rule. As a placement rules, it's just an abstract bool receiving the base vegetable and the neighbors. So basically all the information we need. On the other hand, what will it do? It's a scriptable object, it receives this information. It could communicate with another component, like a power gardening vegetable, which we're gonna need anyways. And this one could cache the information. It would also have to clear the information when picked up. I think we could do that. And then the puzzle, it has a list of all plots, and we can just iterate the plot, get all the vegetables out, and apply the effects based on the cached value. The weird thing for me is that we are storing critical information in the prefab itself then. Or not in the prefab, but in the instance of the, like here, we're storing information here. But I want to have information mostly here. Because we're splitting up information, which seems weird to me. but also like the most straightforward way to implement it right now. Let's try it. If we're hitting a wall, that's a problem for future me. So basically what we also have then is a rule power gardening rule. And we have a power gardening vegetable. And the rule communicates sends the neighbors when being checked. The power plant directable contains the rule. This can be one. It can be a multiple. And the interactable also has this kind of thing. And via the plot, plots we can retrieve the vegetables. And they have like a cache of the power plant neighbors. Looks like a plan, doesn't it? All right. Then let's get implementing. So we have the gardening vegetable. Okay, wait, here. Retrieve plots and veggies from puzzle. Then iterate power plants and apply effect via system. Easy enough. And we're ignoring this one. Call this when leaving greenhouse, or whatever it's called. Then we'll have a gardening vegetable power, which requires a gardening vegetable. Can basically do the same thing here again. But with the vegetable. Oh, and yeah, call it. Gardening vegetable. Probably we have to. Maybe we have to set dirty, I'm not sure. Now, what is this? What is this thing doing? We're implementing that thing. Oh, and we need to implement a rule. That's the important thing, actually. How did we call the others? Gardening rule? Alright. Gardening rule. Power seed. But let's put it with the other gardening systems. Maybe it's a bit weird that we have not two systems that are called gardening. Ay. Didn't think this through, did I? This will always return true, but we need to find the power vegetable. It feels like we're making some kind of vegan propaganda game. Power vegetables. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing that. It wasn't the first idea. Actually, we could just get it from the gardening vegetable. Not false equals null. Bail out early if it's null. Public void. Set neighbors. Okay. So far, so good. So far, so good, yeah. Oh no, I forgot to power my phone. Now, okay, so we have this part covered. The ruling part. Yeah, the gardening field is technically... Okay, here we need to get the plots from the power. So we're getting it down to power vegetables, probably. Then we have a bunch of power vegetables. The power vegetable also needs a reference. I'm not sure if it should be serialized, but a reference to the power seed. So we can work with that. You know, this one should probably be like a runtime thing. Setting this one instantiating. Yeah, now the weird part starts, because for checking neighbors, they only have seed definitions, so we have to cast them to the modifiers to see if they're, which is kinda expensive. We could handle this differently. But I don't think we will. Because generally speaking, actually I only want to cache the neighboring status effect or modifier. The other ones aren't really that interesting. So if it's not a power vegetable, we can ignore it. I mean, that never should happen, really. Doesn't have a seed, we can also ignore it. Which also never should happen. Now the question is, probably we're just storing the reference to the modifier seed. Not serialized. Neighbor is such a weird word. And then we're adding it to the list. I guess. Then we need a way to are we creating the context here? Because we have everything here, the base power and the neighbors. Then we're just doing a get power context kinda method. Probably smoother. Sounds smoother. Then we still need another thing, right? Like a power plant context, name work in progress, store, upgrade, store applicable modifier. Then talk to the player about this. Alright, alright. I think we've got a good idea of what we're doing. But now we just need to hook everything up together and then try it out with some proper examples, I guess. This could actually be a struct with a lot of references. Let's go power gardening upgrade context. Yeah, it's a mouthful, but it explains it. I think it explains it. That's the upgrade. That's the modifier. Can we make these read-only? Is that a thing? Can. I guess, maybe, like that. Get upgrade context. Return new upgrade context with the parent power seed and the neighbor modifier as an error. That's a power upgrade. Oh, honestly, that's also a weird thing. Because that's only relevant if it's a power upgrade. An upgrade plan. The other ones aren't even interesting. So we need to check this as well. I mean, we could also just do but it's not really. Not really the smooth way to do this. Alright, people, I think that's a good sign that we need a break. Also, I need to get off a bit earlier today, because I actually do have classes. Yeah, let's have a last look at what we produced today. Is pretty okay-ish, solid system for prototyping our new temporary upgrade interaction power gardening system. Anyways, thanks everyone for bearing with me today. Thanks for saying hello, always nice to hear from you. If you haven't already, subscribe on Twitch. Enable notifications so you don't miss it. Join our community. And have a nice day. See you in the next one. Bye bye.